Hello? I'm probably gonna go listen to some roleplay though real quick, if you guys didn't need anything. I'm not streaming this. I kind of wish I had streamed this, I'm not gonna lie. But my perspective is so boring. Okay, right over post. Now this is all in a Discord server called Imperial Roleplay. We are a fun, humble little Paradox roleplay community. Oh, hang on. Hello? Alrighty, I'm gonna go listen to some roleplay real quick. If you
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
need me. Right. Oh, the Washington waiting room.
Who joined us?
It is I. I am just a simple businessman.
Hello,
Jay,
can you hear me?
Prospect
I've got
in the
to
United
say,
States.
I'm
you hear
actually
me?
going to say.
These are about 60 to 70 player games. It seems to work pretty well. We still have 68, I think, would be -1. A lot of these players have actually been with our community for a long time. We've got a pretty diverse community, so the role play, they run Paradox games. They do Hoi 4, Vic 3, EU4, CK3, all sorts of stuff. And this is the player map mode, so if you see countries that are lit up with like a name, they are a player. If you see them grayed out like this, it is an AI. And all the AI are on potato mode, so we don't have to worry about their shenanigans usually. Until you get something like this, where Poland decides, I'm gonna invade Ukraine for no fucking reason. Luckily, we do save edits, and so we can just retcon this. It's not real. People shouldn't roleplay that Ukraine is being invaded by Poland. Alright, man. Enjoy your food.
Yep.
What? What country is this? What? Nestrovin. Okay. What? Is there like a regional government? I don't even know, man. Hello. See ya. Anywho, now I want to go listen to roleplay.
Really trying to overthrow the Iranian regime. We believe that we should just not cooperate with it and sanction it.
What did I just walk into?
From what I understand, you do not want to confront Iran at all.
We do not wish to engage in public confrontations with Iran that would have only a symbolic effect. We are afraid that this would galvanize people to be more sympathetic to Iran, especially if we are seen to side with the United States on this matter.
Well, but the thing is, if the United States, well, the United States already declared sanctions on Iran, don't you think we should join it?
The kingdom has spoken to President Bush about this, and we have said much in the same way that the sanctions that at least the kingdom could impose on Iran would be purely symbolic. We do not share a border. We do not share trade. And we, especially in the kingdom, lack the sophisticated financial institution to impose these comprehensive sanctions packages that Western countries can. So in effect, us imposing sanctions of Iran would be no different as to us just saying we sanction you and nothing happens. So we have refrained from doing this because we do not believe we achieve anything from doing this other than perhaps causing radicalism in our countries to increase.
I understand. So you do not want to confront Iran directly. You want to let the West do its job, pretty much.
Yes, that would be our preference. Of course, bearing in mind that
Make the West do
among
its
us
job.
it is no problem for
crazy.
us to admit that we do in fact wish to see Iran's regime gone, and we will covertly assist in this matter where we can.
Okay, so
Interesting development.
we're basically saying we are not going to sanction Iran.
The kingdom at this point is unwilling to participate in such sanctions.
Is there anyone here other than Egypt who wants to sanction
Pakistan
Iran?
is currently sanctioning Iran.
Egypt does as well.
I forgot to give him that
Turkey?
political power.
I believe that we are
Maybe.
supporting the U.S. in their sanctions.
Okay, so it's a decision of Saudi Arabia not to join it. but it seems like the rest of us actually support the sanctions and participate in them.
Yes, and of course the kingdom has no objections whatsoever to this situation. In fact, it is preferable to us.
We respect your claims, and we understand your points, and we will not force you to go against your own interests. So we agree. Well, Saddam is out of the power, out of the image as we speak. So I guess we on Iran we are more of we support more of a autonomic, let's say, autonomic diplomatic approach towards Iran. Each member decides how to shape the relations with Iran, but we generally oppose the Iranian regime.
That we agree with the statement in its entirety.
Okay, and the last thing we wanted to bring up is the Islamophobia, the Arabophobia, the fear of the Middle East, and the heavy toll that it has brought over our tourism industries. We in Egypt believe that there is a lot of work that has to be done in order to combat Islamophobia and show the world again that Islam is not a bad thing and Muslim countries are not dangerous, and that you can come to Muslim countries and Arab countries and enjoy security and diversity and Arab culture without being afraid. So we suggest an international campaign to promote moderate Islamism, both internally, which we already discussed about in the educational programs, but I guess...
Yeah, what's up? Was there anything else? Okay. No. Mine is also grayed out, but it works. Who are you trying to send money to and how much?
The check, 13 billion. Never mind, it just worked. Fuck me, I guess.
Okay.
You just had to say it'll work, and the game decided to fucking function.
What's up, Hunk?
I'm back.
Greetings. I'm here to speak to a Mr. Steve Jobs.
Ah, hello. Who are you?
This is the Vice President himself, Dick Cheney.
Mr. Cheney. Sorry, I don't know why I rolled my R there. Mr. Cheney. I appreciate you calling me.
Some fantastic news, Mr. Steve Jobs.
Mr. Jobs is. It is.
Yes. We have taken your letter into consideration, and I've secured a most beneficial deal for the United States and your company.
Wow. The
United States has achieved mineral rights within the Congo DR, and we would like to give your company priority purchasing these minerals for very cheap from US-based companies that are operating in the Congo. Therefore, you will not have to interact with the Congo at all, and you will be only dealing with American companies stationed in the Congo who will be selling at fair, cheap, and reliable prices to this Apple Corporation.
Wow. Well, as I promised, I did say that we would lobby for this, so here is the agreed-upon fund. And I would also like to, Mr. Cheney, since I have you heard of veganism?
What is this? I've not heard of this.
Listen, so it's not that popular, but I have started to go vegan. And that is where you stop eating meat and you stop killing these poor, innocent, lovely animals who are they need to be treated well, Mr. Cheney. And so, I just wanted to spread the love of veganism. Veganism is really good. Makes you feel very healthy.
Well, perhaps we could talk over some steak and figure out this veganism.
Oh, God, no.
You don't need steak?
Oh, no, God, that's terrible. How could you?
What do you mean?
You just slaughtered a whole cow for a small steak? That's terrible. How could that's so cruel?
No, we slaughtered that cow for 100 pounds of steak.
Wow, that's worse. Yeah, why kill the cow? Why do you have to kill the cow?
Mr. Steve Jobs, I do
eat
have
tofu.
important business. I have
Eat
important
more
business that I
lettuce.
must. Mr. Steve Jobs, I think I'm looking at my watch right now. I think the president is calling me.
Well, okay. I hope.
Hello, Mr.
Wait,
President.
tell him
I'm on the
about-
way, Mr.
Tell
President.
him about veganism.
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm on the way. Okay. Goodbye, Steve Jobs.
Farewell, Mr. Cheney. I hope I hear you calling soon.
Okay.
What? Kosovo?
Instantly. Okay, look. Before you shoot me, I had no choice, right? An event popped that said you. Wait, I have a screenshot.
It's fine, dude. I don't know. You roll with it, I guess.
I will, make a news post about our great borrowing of $750 billion.
Yes.
Small sum.
So small.
Alright, pause it. You could pause and rehost. Then we will start with UN Resolution DPRK 2001 Resolution-1. We invite the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea to the stage to make their claim of their resolution. Alright, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Very quickly, recalling the agreed framework between the United States of America and the DPRK of 1994, as well as the UN Security Council Resolution 825, we recognize the fact that the DPRK has aligned itself with these prior resolutions, and we would like to request that these diplomatic sanctions be released and reduced. If necessary, we would be willing to reach out to the IAEA in order to confirm that we are in line with these diplomatic requirements. But other than that, we believe that we should not have sanctions simply for our governmental style. That is it.
Thank you. We now open the stage to any nation who wishes to speak. South Africa.
Thank you very much. Dear delegates, well, I would like to reiterate that it is a good start for the North Korean nation to go back on its nuclear policy and rescind it totally. I think it is our duty as human beings to remember the travesties that do still happen in North Korea that need to be addressed before any support can be shown for the North Korean nation, including the detention of political prison camps, torture, inhumane treatment, public executions, extrajudicial killings, suppression of freedom, movement and expression, forced labor, exploitation, severe restrictions on the freedom of religion, all these human rights abuses that cannot go unanswered and should not go unanswered. And we should not be rewarding a nation for giving us an inch when really what needs to happen is they need to give a mile. I cede my time. Thank you.
Recognize the speaker from Armenia.
Thank you, Speaker. I believe this, me, as a representative of the government of Armenia, we recognize that what South Africa said is fair. However, we still recognize that this is a good first step for North Korea to take in order to be back in the good graces of the United Nations and the world in general. As such, we support this bill, and we see it as a fair bill, as all five UNSC nations will be investigating their active denuclearization and authorizing what North Korea is saying is true. And this is the reason why we're voting yes, despite North Korea's numerous abuses. You cede our time.
Thank you. Now recognize the speaker from Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Federated Republic of Brazil must echo South Africa's comments here. We, again, commend the North Koreans on these reforms. We think that this is a great first step. However, we must agree with South Africa. More effort is needed, but we are willing to compromise on that. We do feel that some good faith does require some reward, and we would be more than willing to see to it that North Korea is continually incentivized. In fact, Brazil is totally willing to help with incentivizing that on the condition that North Korea continues on that path. Any renegation on that, Brazil would be forced to withdraw any and all financial assistance provided. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from the DPRK. Sorry, not the DPRK, the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Dear delegates, I would personally like to come out in support of this bill due to the fact that not lifting sanctions on the Democratic Republic of the the DPRK may result in them continuing their nuclear program.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Tanzania.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course, we must agree with some of our friends here at the Assembly that the North Koreans are today making a very big leap towards negotiating peace, towards regularizing relations between them and the Western countries. And that I believe that there is no better deal than this, than them abandoning new offensive nuclear programs and allowing inspections to ensure that it is followed through. We cannot ask them to change everything at once. It is simply not possible. And by pushing them away every time they try to take a step into our direction, which they have already done recently with another resolution, if we keep pushing them away, then all of these efforts are naught, and we are just pushing them to continue on their isolationist policies and their nuclear policies. I believe that it is a very dangerous precedent to not give them any help, any incentive, indeed, to follow on their words and to work toward peace. I will conclude by saying that they have indeed made a giant leap towards helping peace in the region by abandoning the nuclear program, and we should do the same in trying to normalize relations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from the Communist Chinese Party.
The People's Republic of China. Thank you.
Yeah.
We believe that North Korea should be relieved from the sanctions. They have shown to be a viable partner. And I want to remind also the international community that the deal brokered by the People's Republic of China about the North Korean stop of the nuclear program still has been held up by North Korea. So I think it is high time that we review the sanctions on North Korea and that we lift them. I cede my time. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Pakistan.
Dear delegates, would you rather live in a world of nations that denuclearize or that continue to rearm the program? This resolution, North Korea has extended an olive branch with a deal brokered by China. They've denuclearized. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. North Korea and the North Korean people are struggling under these harsh sanctions. Only the people suffer, not the regime. We believe that this resolution, if put forward, will put North Korea on a path of freedom, prosperity, and reintegration with the international community. I cede my time.
Thank you. We will recognize the delegate from Japan. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Japan was and is deeply concerned about any possible North Korean nuclear program. While we welcome the Chinese initiative to dearm the DPRK in this regard, we yet to see any concrete evidence about this denuclearization policy. Right now, Japan is not ready to support this resolution, but if the DPRK would be ready to host a Japanese inspection team into the country and make sure and showcase us that they in fact destroyed all of their research station, all of their nuclear capabilities, all of their rockets, and so forth, then Japan would be more than happy to communicate this to the wider world and then be in support of this resolution. So the ball is on the North Korean table, and we are waiting their answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Estonia.
My dear colleagues, I would like to say one thing. That the first thing is that North Korea, basically, why did we put the sanctions in the first place? Because of the various human rights abuses, the exploitation, and etc. So in return, they started the nuclear program, basically putting a knife to our throats. And now they say that they withdraw the knife from our throats, and we should forget about all the human rights abuses and everything else. That doesn't work that way. They basically are blackmailing us into lifting the sanctions, and I don't think that the free world can be blackmailed. I don't see any single outcome that this resolution can pass. Other than that, it's very suspicious that some countries support it so actively. I think they must be investigated for some human rights abuses too themselves. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And as our final speaker, we will allow the Democratic People's Republic of Korea a rebuttal statement for 30 seconds. Please try to be brief. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to make a note that this resolution, the original resolution, the sanctions were not passed because of human rights abuses. This is simply untrue, and this is a false rumor that is circulated for no reason other than the free world's simple resolution that the belief that North Korea cannot have any good human rights. Furthermore, we believe that North Korea's human rights are simply one of the best in the world, and furthermore, we would be willing to host IAEA and UNSC council members into North Korea in order to show off that we have destroyed our plutonium factories. Yes, we are willing to work with the international community. Furthermore, we would like to once again remind that this was about sanctions due to nuclear activity, not due to human rights abuses.
Okay, thank you.
I cede the rest of my time.
If you have not voted already, please make your final decision. You have 10 seconds. Resolution fails with 16 in favor, 25 opposed, and 8 abstentions. Moving along to the next resolution. Sorry if this is out of order, but United Nations Resolution Iraq 2078-23 is now on the table. Oh, it's withdrawn. Sorry, just saw that. Moving on to Iraq 2002 Resolution 5423, lifting of the Gulf War sanctions on the new Republic of Iraq. We will now invite the representatives from the state of Iraq to the stage. You have a minute and a half.
Assalamu alaikum, dear delegates. I am a representative from the newly established Republic of Iraq. We have recently brought down the brutal dictator Saddam Hussein, and we are ready for change. The new republic will be a republic of democracy and freedom, both for all religions and for all cultures. We deeply condone the usage of chemical weapons against the Kurdi people by the brutal dictator. And we're hoping to gather support for this new resolution to lift the old sanctions against the Republic and to re-enter the diplomatic stage. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Pakistan.
Dear delegates, Hassan Hussein, the son of Iraq, is offering peace to the world. We believe that this is an amazing opportunity for Iraq, just as North Korea previously offered to reintegrate itself into the international community. Iraq, this century, may not be known as a pariah, but as a state that reintegrated itself with the international community, and did so successfully, as one might say. We welcome this resolution, and are happy to see Iraq take the first steps to reintegrate itself. I cede my time.
Thank you. Do that. We now recognize the speaker from Brazil.
Thank you. First, let me begin by offering up a clarification in regards to something connection to this. To those European nations that feel that Brazil has accused you of financially benefiting from the United States for your opposition to the Saddam Hussein regime, please accept the heartfelt apologies of the Brazilian people. That was not what we were intending to state. In regards to this resolution, and I will be quick here so that I don't run out of time, Brazil supports this. We understand that our opposition to the previous resolution upset a great many Western nations. We apologize for the confusion. However, we must clarify Brazil is constitutionally barred from foreign interference in other nations. And as a proud, robust democracy, we hoped to maintain that tradition. In regards to this resolution, we support it and we encourage others to do so. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Angola.
Yes, we have concerns over this withdrawing the sanctions against Iraq. Hussein, who is now in charge, was, of course, part of and complicit in his father's brutal regime and human rights abuses against the people of Iraq, including, no less, the gassing and using of chemical weapons against Kurds and Shiites after the first Gulf War. He was also a member of the Iraqi Republican Guard, known to use and their power to abuse the people of Iraq and murder these same individuals, groups that we mentioned beforehand. Therefore, we question whether or not this should be such sanctions should be withdrawn until a future election is held for Iraq, which would bring about a true democratic leader who is not connected to the Saddam Hussein regime of the past and implicit with its crimes and human rights abuses. So we oppose lifting these sanctions until such actions are taken through an election and someone else who is not, once again, connected to the previous regime of Saddam Hussein is president of Iraq. I see the rest of my time.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from the United States of America. Your microphone is muted, Mr.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say that Qusay Hussein, he's a patriot. He stands for the right and truthful people of Iraq who seek democracy, who seek economic growth, who seek prosperity, and who stand against genocide. We would like to confirm that we in fact found the WMDs that me and the intelligence agencies of NATO nations have talked about. All of this is confirmed. All of this will be confirmed by the new Iraq as well. We are very proud to have been welcomed by the Iraqi people with open arms and flowers, and we will ensure stability, peace, all around the planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now recognize the speaker from Finland.
Even though, as Angola said, we support this resolution and we will lift our sanction, but we should pay attention to the democratic transition process. So I understand that the country was in a rough position and we will lift our sanction, but we should still wait and see what happens in the next elections. For the WMD's case, since it's confirmed by the Iraqi government, well, we just want to say to the world that it was the right horse to back to at least threaten the invasion of Iraq. I cede my time.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from India.
Thank you. India wishes to state that some have forgotten that the sanctions were not put in place because of WMDs. There is much more in place of these sanctions. And while we are more than thrilled to see the beginning of democratizing, we also agree that this must be monitored. However, India will not lift any sanctions until this new Iraqi regime apologizes for the rhetoric of the Saddam regime and issues a formal apology to Israel as well as to the United States. We see that time.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from South Africa.
Hello, yes, thank you, gentlemen. We have the same concerns as some of our other delegates. This resolution, I would like us to take into consideration that it is 3 sentences long. It does not explain how any of these democratic processes are being put in place. We appreciate what the US government said about their support for this and how they're going to explain things, but as it currently stands, I don't see how we can all vote for a resolution before knowing any of the information. It's like saying, "Hey, vote for this. Trust me, it's going to be great." But I can't tell you now. I'll tell you later. We just find it absolutely makes no sense. And if you do a brief search on the history of Qusay Hussein, he is known in the intelligence community for murdering countless people, making room for prisoners, etc., etc., etc. Also, if a democratic process is being put in place, how is it possible that the son of Saddam Hussein, who has been deposed, has been put in place and is now leader of Iraq? Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from Egypt.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to support this resolution by Iraq. I think that this is a great opportunity for the world and especially for the Middle East and the Iraqi people to actually end the long isolation and poverty in Iraq and actually bring a better future, a brighter future, both to the region and to the Middle East. And I urge those who think that they can change the regime in Iraq. This is not true. The Iraqi people have overthrown Saddam. His son Qusay would not have been able to do that without support from the people. We believe that pushing for changes in Iraq, artificial changes that come from outside and not from inside, would only cause chaos. We think that this regime is a good regime and we should support it instead of discredit it, and we should end the sanctions on Iraq. We should reintegrate it into the international community. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from Peru.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Peru would like to vote no on this resolution because we believe there's not enough concrete information that the regime will actually be safe, and we encourage an actual decision by the Iraqi people. The regime has not issued any public statements before offering their return to diplomatic channels across the world. They're taking a "we are safe, just trust us" approach without further highlighting what their stance is after the regime. And they also did not highlight on their weapons of mass destructions in a public statement before asking the world to return on a diplomatic scale and release sanctions. We would encourage the diplomatic community to look into and question Iraq's policies before lifting any sanctions. We yield our time.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It has since been noted that the Iraqi regime did in fact possess weapons of mass destruction. Brazil would like to formally apologize and stand in front of the international community in regards to this resolution to state that we were incorrect and the evidence has been quite concrete. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to bring up question to the likes of many representatives that have come up here before. They've spoken about the beauty of the country and the patriotism of there, where we have been shown no proof that any of this is true and that their regime has truly changed. I mirror the views of my of the fellow delegates voting against this act, as until we get shown proof, I believe they should be no different to the sanctions on the North Koreans that we had so previously voted on before.
That's your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from Iraq for a rebuttal.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, dear delegates. I understand your confusion in this matter. Perhaps I wasn't clear enough about how the situation is currently. I can assure you that democracy will thrive in Iraq, and it is currently supervised by the United States of America and President George W. Bush himself. The weapons of mass destructions has been found by the President, Qusay, and he will make a public statement, and he has also denounced the horrendous crimes of Saddam Hussein. This is the future of Iraq. this is true. This is not just empty words. Thank you.
Thank you. Angola, we now recognize you as our final speaker.
Yes, I would like to point out that many newspapers reported back in 1998 that Qusay Hussein, the current president of Iraq, ordered the killing of not only Khalis Mohin al-Tariqi, an engineer at the Military Industrialization Organization, because he believed that Mohsen was planning to leave Iraq, but he also ordered the execution of thousands of political prisoners. Afterwards, he also ordered the execution of hundreds of inmates who were similarly executed simply to make room for more prisoners in their jails. This man is a mass murderer and a human rights abuser on a grand scale, and a genocidal maniac to put on top of that. I question lifting sanctions on a man who was not democratically elected, but simply took power after the fall of his father, and who has such a horrible human rights abuse legacy, be allowed to simply have all sanctions lifted against his corrupt regime and allow Iraq fully back into the international community without any safeguards or elections to guarantee that the Iraqi people have a say in their future. Thank you. I see the rest of my time.
Alrighty, if you have not voted yet, please make your final decision now and cast your vote. You have 5 seconds. Resolution passes with 36 in favor, 5 opposed, and 12 abstention. Sorry, 5 abstentions and 12 opposed. My bad. Alrighty, UN resolution for the entry of Yugoslavia into the United Nations. We will now invite a representative from Yugoslavia to make your case before this body. You have a minute and a half.
Dear delegates, thank you for this opportunity. As many of you know, the international community has essentially removed all financial and economic sanctions on Yugoslavia. Both the European Union and the United States have seen our turn to democracy, and we strive for this. And the first order in order to join the international community is to be part of this esteemed body. We have presented all our arguments in our form that you can read about it on why we need to join the United Nations.
Alrighty, we will now recognize the speaker from Libya. Your microphone is muted, Mr. Gaddafi.
I apologize for that, my great brothers and sisters from all around the world. I would like to speak that Serbia is a great country, and I recognize that every country has the rights to be their own country. And my brothers and sisters, I just want to say that Jama Allahu Akbar to all of you. And I believe that we all are equals in the word of Allah. We are all just a grain of sand. And I believe that every country right now in this lobby is just one grain of the Allah. Why do we fight each other? Why do we do all of these meaningful things? I do not understand. I cannot comprehend. Only Allah can understand all the things.
That is your time.
But when I'm at it, yes, I just want to say, like, my green book is just selling right now. I have translated to all the greatest language in the world.
Gaddafi. If anybody wishes to indulge themselves in Libyan political theology, please visit Mr. Gaddafi. We now recognize the speaker from Pakistan.
My dear delegates, have you seen what Yugoslavia did during the 90s? Yes, Milosevic may be in The Hague, but Kosovo, a state that is majority Muslim, has been annexed by Yugoslavia. They have once again demonstrated they are against regional stability. They are the destabilizers of the Balkans. Pakistan is not ready to accept, under any condition, that Yugoslavia re-enters the United Nations until Kosovo may be released and they demonstrate their commitment to human rights and regional stability. I cede my time.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. We now recognize the speaker from Angola.
Yes, before we could possibly consider Yugoslavia's full entry into this body, we must actually speak about its invasion of Kosovo. I would like to hear from the Yugoslav representative the justification for military action against the Kosovo people. and without any attempt at a peaceful resolution. And what happens to the future of the Kosovo people if they desire independence at any time from Yugoslavia? Thank you. I will see the rest of my time.
Thank you. We will recognize Yugoslavia to answer those questions very briefly and quickly, please.
Okay, so first of all, we began an operation in the demilitarized zone to combat the terrorist Albanian organizations that were operating in the area that had annexed several Serbian villages and towns and had continued to systematically oppress and exterminate the Serbian population. We took the we did this under the auspices of K4 and of NATO and the United States. While we were doing this operation in the DMZ, the Kosovo
you can wrap it up.
The Kosovo administration asked us for a debt bailout of 12 billion that we generously provided, and they told us that we go to the help of the Kosovan people. But instead, when we ended the war with the terroristic group that we were fighting, the Kosovan region declared its
Okay. Due to time, unfortunately, if there's further clarification needed, he can always do this in a private setting. We now recognize the PRC.
Thank you, Speaker. While the PRC has good relations with Yugoslavia, we cannot in good faith allow their ascension into this body, as their recent military action against Kosovo sparked some questions in Beijing. Therefore, we are not supporting this resolution as of now. Thank you.
We now recognize the speaker from Peru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the delegation of Peru would like to highlight that we would only accept this resolution if the amendment by the Dutch is passed that allows inspectors from the Security Council to execute investigations into the Yugoslavia nation and ensure the protection of human rights, seeing the annexation of Kosovo, and also seeing the Yugoslav speaker explain their stance on why the war in Kosovo happened. If they continue to explain to the United Nations community what is going on, and they allow the amendment to be accepted, then we would vote yes. But for now, we abstain until any further comment from them. We yield our time. Okay.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from the Republic of Korea.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We find it appalling that the Yugoslavians not only attacked for a demilitarized zone, but also put the lives of the UN troops that are in Kosovo. Are we to reward someone who wishes to openly defy the UN troopers in Kosovo? What, are we to simply drop sanctions and give him what he wants? The UNSC should investigate the matter and should force the Yugoslavians to release or at least give back the autonomy that the Kosovans rightfully deserve. I find it disgraceful. I will, of course, sorry.
But you can finish up your statement if you want.
I hope that the UNSC will investigate the matter severely. That is all. Thank you.
If there are no other speakers, then we will move along to the voting stage. The resolution passes with 31 in favor, 9 abstentions, and 11 opposed. Moving along to our second to last resolution. Resolution TNZ 2000-1. Tripartite peace agreement in Uganda and Rwanda. We now invite Tanzania, I believe, up to the stage.
Yes, thank you. I will be brief because as it stands, the timeline has been done and everything that was outlined in this document has been done. Honestly, the peace has been achieved and the nations have been liberated. But indeed, this was to recognize by the UN the peacekeeping mission in Uganda and Rwanda and the tripartite agreement that has been made between Tanzania, Kenya, and the Congo Democratic Republic in relation to the end of the Second Congo War and the military occupation of Congo into Uganda and Rwanda, which is now over as it stands. So everything is good, I would say.
This resolution is withdrawn.
Yeah, I guess we could say that.
Okay. Then we will withdraw the resolution and move along to our final resolution of today, which should be quite brief. The establishment of a nuclear hotline between Pakistan and India. We now invite representatives from Pakistan now.
Just for reference, this is a nuclear hotline for all nuclear nations, not just between Pakistan and India.
Oh, my apologies then.
No problem. Dear delegates of the United Nations General Assembly, we live in a world where nuclear weapons are unprecedented in scale, and whilst the world may have downsized its arsenal since the height of the Cold War, they still stand as one of the greatest threats to humanity. This resolution aims to decrease the miscommunication that may occur between nuclear-armed states, in order to ensure a safer and more stable world for us all, and to prevent the extinction of the human race.
We now recognize a speaker from Peru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Peru would like to commend the Pakistan delegation in highlighting this new charter to establish peace between nuclear powers. While Peru is not a nuclear power, we would like to allow connections to help establish more peacemaking initiatives for all the other nuclear powers. In any way we can help, we would gladly do so, and we would like to encourage all members of the UN to vote yes on this resolution, as it encourages others to maintain peace with each other. We yield our time.
Thank you. We now recognize the speaker from the People's Republic of China. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The People's Republic of China supports this resolution wholeheartedly. We believe that a direct hotline between all nuclear-armed states is something that benefits the world and will decrease the likelihood of any mistakes or any dangerous maneuvers that other countries may do in the future. So we urge all members of the United General Assembly to support this resolution, as this will increase the security level in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. We now recognize the speakers from Japan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. While we wholeheartedly support this resolution, as the only nation who unfortunately witnessed the power of an offensive nuclear weapon in use in an active military zone.
But as an American, that's always
urge
funny to hear.
all nations who currently possesses such weaponry to come together and
Sorry if that alarm is loud
follow
for
the
you
previous
on the
leads by the
recording.
United States and the Soviet Union and decrease the amount of weapons in
That's your time.
use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from India.
Yes, India would like to simply retort to the previous statements that one nation cannot de-escalate by themselves. It requires complete and total unanimous de-armament for this to even be a possibility. On this matter of a nuclear hotline, India completely agrees. However, India would like there to be specific provisions to understand who is considered within this nation. If it is only nuclear powers within the NPT, then it is a pointless nuclear hotline. If it is only recognized nuclear powers, then this is a separate question. As we are aware, there are multiple nations who hold some form of nuclear opacity or obliqueness, which prevents us from understanding their true intentions.
Ooh, like
India
Israel.
wants for this
Shit.
hotline to be as effective as possible. We yield our time.
Thank you. We now recognize a speaker from Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Brazil is not a nuclear power, though we do harness nuclear energy. And I will state this, Brazil openly supports this. We encourage diplomacy as a solution to all forms of disputes. And given the tense situations across the globe right now, for a variety of different reasons, Brazil believes that this is a positive step. We applaud Pakistan and India for taking the initiative in this regard, and we feel that this is a great step towards a better world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. And as our final speaker today, we will recognize the delegation from Pakistan.
As a response to India, nuclear powers here are defined as nations who have conducted a nuclear test and have nations that are known to have a nuclear bomb, even if they may not be a part of the NPT, which would include India and Pakistan, as we are not part of the NPT. However, we have still tested nuclear bombs and are known to possess them. I state my time.
Thank you. And I suppose, Mr. Gaddafi, you did want to speak. You have 30 seconds.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, my brothers and sisters from all around the world, as I say, I believe all the countries are great, and I do not believe that nuclear weapons are great, because nuclear weapons see destruction, and they are very bad, because I do not believe nuclear weapons are the great, but they are sometimes necessary, as I believe. But once again, I approve that I probably didn't finish my sentence last time. I probably not all referred to. My book is released right now on all the fucking greatest.
That's your time. Thank you, Mr. Gaddafi. Okay. Now, if you have not made your vote, please, you have 10 seconds to vote. Resolution passes with a resounding 45 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. Now we will move along to the UNSC stage. For those who do not want to stay, you do not have to. You can go and roleplay into your own channels if you would like. If you are on the rotating UNSC chair or a permanent member, please raise your hands.
Salam.
Dear delegates.
Iran is a rotating member, Malaysia, Romania, South Africa, and Cuba. Those are our rotating UNSC members today.
Mr. Blair, if you could do your cigarettes a bit later, sir, that would be very much appreciated.
Sorry, I can't smoke in the Security Council.
No, you can't.
Unfortunately, New York City has strict laws against smoking in
After certain events.
In roleplay, a takeaway arrives for the South African delegate.
Damn.
And he starts eating it. Gentlemen, if I may start quickly. I wanted to give the Security Council an update on the operations that have been taking place in West Africa. And we are glad to inform you that the initial military operation was a resounding success. The African Union forces, led by South Africa, have defeated the rebels and the Liberians who refused to adhere to the ceasefire. And now the African Union are jointly peacekeeping operations within Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. And we will be voting later today on how further to proceed to take the status quo back to how it was.
Thank you for the update, sir. I am seeing currently in my information that only South Africa is intervening there right now. Can you confirm?
Oh, this is a different conflict.
Oh, I see.
Conflict that's happening in the Ivory Coast that we are diligently putting to an end.
Okay.
We thank the African Union for this swift and successful action taken in Sierra Leone, stabilizing the area. And
thank you, sir. I'll pass on your message. Thank you.
Liberia, very well.
Does any delegation would like to comment anything we passed today? Because if not, I'm sure that everybody's very busy and we could return to our daily tasks.
The only thing that China would like to mention is the Yugoslavian situation. We don't know what's quite going on there. Has anybody information?
Yes, we would also ask our European representatives, France and Britain, to maybe comment.
France does not know the certainty of what's happening in Yugoslavia currently. So we ask the British to maybe clarify.
If delegations would like to invite a representative from Yugoslavia to discuss it with the United Nations Security Council.
I think we already heard what they had to say in their speech. We would like to hear the other side, to be honest. At least this is America's position right now.
Yes, we would like to hear what's going on there, because from China is aware that there are KFOR troops, NATO troops in Kosovo, and what happened to them?
Well, if there's...
I believe that nations can do that independently if they wish, on
Yes.
their own time, and if the Assembly didn't want to pass any vetoes or push any other resolutions, then I think we can adjourn.
Thank you, everybody, and
very productive.
May God bless you.
Very
Very productive meeting. Thank you so much for being here.
Productive meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
gentlemen.
much for being allowed in this productive meeting.
I think the Almighty really loves Iran because you were in the most important UN meeting, sir.
Yes, yes,
In the
it
chain.
was
Uh,
very
I
good
would-
to once be here and see what is being discussed here.
Before
And
the
learn
media
all the
actually
information.
leaves, before the media leaves, show this to the cameras. I would actually like to meet Iran very soon, sir.
Oh, well, you can. You want
think
me
we
to
have to
come
speak.
Washington?
No, I wouldn't go that far, but we can meet in Riyadh or in the new Iraq, sir, in Baghdad, if you want to meet.
Of course. Our
Iraq
representative
is
always
actually
open
funny.
for discussions.
I would not go that
Of
far.
course, can come to me. Okay, gentlemen,
Yes.
goodbye.
Can China
Goodbye.
also resolve okay, never mind. America just leaves when China's speaking. All right, fine. All right, Benjamin, I see you.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I'm here to speak with a representative of East Timor.
Oh, East Timor. Well,
Yes, under Indonesia. That is under occupation right
yes, yes, I know of, I know of the place. Let me
Of course.
let me fetch the. I don't think he's really a representative. He seems more of a terrorist, but that's okay. I'll get him. I'm assuming it was the man in the drebs outside.
now. Well, no, it's actually part of the individuals. They used to be a part of the elected government,
Oh, well,
not the terrorist group.
I see. Well, let me go get him. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
Hello.
I have good news.
What do we have to owe the pleasure of the United States?
The United States has pressured Indonesia to respect the sovereignty of East Timor and remove its military occupation.
Are you saying I can return home? I can get out
Yes.
of this dreary office. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh,
Now,
I don't know what to
there
say.
is one caveat,
Okay.
which we're willing to negotiate on.
All right.
Indonesia would like to see United States peacekeeping forces within East Timor. I can assure you these would be, just between us, they would be purely ceremonial. They would not be doing any real enforcing. They are just to placate Indonesia and secure your sovereignty.
And you can assure me that this is not just replacing one oppressive
Yes,
occupation force
we will have
for
nothing to
another.
do with your
Okay.
government. We will
Right.
have nothing to do with your government.
Well, we would also, on that note, having nothing to do with our government, maybe we could use some assistance from the United States in propping up a proper government here, fulfilling democratic
love to assist you.
processes and elections.
Yes, we have more than capable individuals that are able to assist you in that regard.
Well, perfect. Then
So,
I shall plan my.
do we have your
route.
agreement?
Yes, of course, absolutely.
Okay.
I will
Right, I will
return
tell
home at
Hyper-V now.
once.
Excellent, thank you.
Of course. That was completely unexpected. I'm home.
That would be 10 billion in Hungarian investments into the Dutch economy.
Yes, we will transfer 5 billion immediately.
No, 10 billion to the. Wait. Yes.
You have
I-
spent 10 billion for the
10
investments,
billion.
did you not?
Mhm.
Which we will pay 50% of it back to you.
Precisely.
Here it is.
Thank you kindly. The Fidesz government is always looking for more investing opportunities.
We'll keep it in mind.
Very well. Good luck to you.
You too. Hello, Jay.
Oh, I clicked the wrong button. What's happening in Brazil?
We understand that our opposition to the war in Iraq was upsetting, but considering that the issue has largely resolved itself, feel the need to dwell on that too much. That we would emphasize that Brazil is constitutionally barred from engaging in wars outside of our
And that is
territory.
perfectly fine, but threatening the United States with a coalition on the grounds of imperialism and removing a madman that had chemical weapons and was behind 9/11, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Sir, my intelligence organizations have led me to believe that not a single one of the attackers was Iraqi in origin. I cannot speak to Saddam's financial managements, but I can state now I have seen enough sufficient evidence, and I have publicly stated as such, that I was mistaken in regards to the policy on the nuclear weapons. And I have openly admitted that, and I told the Finns that I would openly admit that. Our representative at the United Nations has stated that Brazil was wrong. But due to our constitutional limitations, we require concrete evidence. Furthermore, the American efforts to continue to undermine our efforts by offering financial incentives to countries like Venezuela, the Philippines, Thailand, and others to cut off trade with Brazil, that was a severe provocation from my perspective.
And I do not know what you're talking about, sir.
Sir, all of these countries have already openly stated to us, and while your State Department may do one thing and the White House another, that's fine, but these were considered to be provocations. I am not anti-American. I am not engaging in anti-American diplomacy. The economic links
Your
that I am
actions would
fostering.
provide otherwise.
Well, let me explain my actions, because at no point has Brazil taken an authoritative step towards any nation that is contrary to American interests. There's been discussion of a BRICS group forming. If you will notice, India, South Africa, and Brazil have been meeting. China and Russia have not.
Mm-hmm.
Does the United States consider India or South Africa to be a threat?
No, of course not.
Then this movement is merely us linking our economies. We are three democracies. Yes, China and Russia are said to be affiliated with us, and they have expressed an interest, but at present, their interests are elsewhere. So it is the three emerging democracies coming together and linking together. At no point, India is very, very, very pro-American, as is South Africa, and Brazil at no point has any discussion of an anti-American agenda been speculated. Yes, the press has noted that should all these countries come together, hypothetically, our combined GDPs could rival the United States. But that is just a pure numbers game. There's no cohesion there. And at no point has there been any discussion of rivaling or challenging American power. The U.S. government is rightfully concerned about its position at the top of the world of the global hegemony, but Brazil has no effort or interest in engaging in challenging U.S. hegemony. We merely wish to assert our right to engage with those nations that we wish to, and to trade with whoever we wish to. Can I be frank, Mr. Vice President?
Of course you can.
It is extremely insulting that the world's most powerful democracy is sanctioning and encouraging other democracies to sanction another
state that supports terrorism?
We do not support terrorism. Brazil was one of the first nations to condemn the terror attacks. We have condemned the regime of Saddam Hussein. We do not support foreign aggression. We've made that abundantly clear. And let me be perfectly clear. As a nation that suffers under the cartels, we are acutely aware of how much danger that is. I personally, my government issued strong condemnation against the attacks. We've openly offered to work with the Americans on anti-terror initiatives and anti-cartel initiatives. At no point after these sanctions did Brazil retaliate. At no point did we run to Russia and China and form an alliance.
Well, let me ask you a question.
All right.
Specifically about Iran, you have close, I don't know if you want to call them close ties, but that's what I'm going to call them, close ties with Iran and the Ayatollah, yes?
We have financial investments in Iran, yes.
Mm-hmm. And how can you say you're not a supporter of terrorism, but you actively support Iran, who props up Hezbollah, who has been designated as a terrorist group since 1997?
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Vice President. Per the arrangements we reached with the Iranians, the deal is quite specific. Should Iran engage in any action, or should the Brazilian industries be found to be engaged in any actions pertaining to terrorism, Brazil is obliged under treaty to withdraw.
But how can you prove that? How can you find out? The establishment within Iran has been doing this covertly for decades.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, but the United States has also been doing questionable things for decades. We
have not been propping up terrorist groups.
Are
you saying the United States is propping up terrorist groups?
What I am saying is that as a nation that suffered under a military dictatorship that used terror that was supported by the United States, some Brazilians would say yes.
Well, that is a poor outlook for them.
That may be true, sir, but you have to understand that Brazil is not an aggressive state, and you have treated us as though we are. We are not a state sponsor of terrorism. Why would nations such as Japan, Finland, Venezuela, Mexico, Italy, South Korea, the Philippines, Thailand, why would these nations engage with us if we were state sponsors of terrorism? We are victims of terrorism, just as much as the Americans are.
Mm-hmm.
And I see no point in us engaging that. I have not retaliated. My economy has hurt tremendously. You have really set Brazil back in the midst of a major financial crisis. My government was elected to try to spread prosperity. I am waging a war, Mr. Vice President, but it's a war against hunger. It's a war against poverty. And the United States trying to perpetuate that poverty to punish Brazil for making a statement on the international stage is most upsetting. Furthermore, being lectured to by the Canadians as though we do not properly understand Western politics is also deeply insulting.
We cannot speak for the Canadian sections.
And we don't hold you responsible for them. We hold the Canadian Prime Minister responsible for them. But it is extremely upsetting to see democracies punishing other democracies. Because at present, Brazil is a democratically elected government for the people, by the people, of the people, being sanctioned by the land of the free. How am I supposed to...
President Lula.
Yes.
Are you simply here to proclaim that you are not an enemy of the United States and that you want the sanctions lifted?
Sir,
is that the essence of your meeting?
What I am trying to do is to prove to you through both actions and words that I am not your enemy. But your president stated to me equivocally on multiple occasions that he wanted to keep Brazil in Washington's economic orbit. He sanctioned me because he was upset with Brazil's actions. At no point have I economically divested from the United States. At no point have I hurt U.S. economic interests. And the president that is telling me that I am not to trade with Russia and China is driving me to trade more with Russia and China. These businesses that you've sanctioned, this multi-billion-dollar trade that you have cut off, I have found alternatives for that. I am investing elsewhere now because of this.
Oh, really? Where?
In places as far afield as Japan, Angola, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Greece, Pakistan. And, sir, I'm going to be completely honest with you. If the sanctions are removed, I'm going to be hesitant to encourage closer economic cooperation. The United States has already shown itself completely willing to sanction Brazil for expressing a viewpoint that it deems to be problematic. What assurances do I have that going forward, if a Brazilian diplomat expresses a different opinion, that I could be subject to punishment from engaging in diplomacy, which all nations have the right to do? I am not Cuba. Yes, I want Cuba in the Organization of American States, but at no point have I demanded that the U.S. end its embargo on Cuba. I, as I told your president, I have desired to maintain positive relations. It is my goal to keep the hemisphere's two largest democracies on good terms. Unfortunately,
the issue that the president had is the wording of your Brazilian representatives. He unequivocally in the UN forum said the United States was just bribing nations with financial incentives to support evidence that Saddam had chemical weapons and was behind the 9/11 attacks, which is unequivocally not true.
Sir,
sure, you have apologized for them, but it was said nevertheless in the UN forum.
Yes,
and
yes,
that is a
because
major.
Yes, evidence was brought before us via Venezuela, via Thailand, via the Philippines, and via other Western democracies. From our perspective, it appeared that each time that Brazil did something, the U.S. was able to mobilize a massive coalition that magically showed up. Our trade deals magically disappeared. We have tried to trade with the Western world. We have tried to ingratiate ourselves with it. Each time that we get closer, the U.S. takes offense to something that we state and immediately cuts off all ties and induces it. It is extremely frustrating. You are driving me to trade with the very countries that you don't want me to trade as. What are my alternatives?
Well, I would start very bluntly. I'm not the president of the United States, but I will say very bluntly, keep your representatives under check.
And I will tell you very bluntly, the representatives of Brazil answer to the people of Brazil, not Washington.
And that is perfectly fine.
And those people in Brazil now are extremely upset with the United States. So expecting me to
as are the civilians of the United States with Brazil.
That's fine. They're allowed to be. I
Exactly.
don't care about them, though, as I'm sure you don't care about my own. But
Exactly.
I will follow the will of my people. And if that requires me to take a stand that is separate from the United States, I will. At no point have I raised issues about intelligence coming across my desk about your activities and my neighbors. At no point have I raised issues. I have been a good adherent to your Monroe Doctrine, which quite frankly I oppose. But I have not made a big deal about it. But I can tell you this right now, if you do not let Brazil engage in its own affairs and let us do as we please, I will start becoming more of a problem. I don't want to be a problem.
You're going to become even more of a problem, you say?
Yes, yes. What I am trying to do is treat me as an equal.
President Lula, I will speak with the president on your behalf.
I appreciate it, Mr. Vice President.
I will explain everything that has been said, everything in every detail. Whatever the president decides, we'll see how things go on from there.
Yes, sir. I am most appreciative, and I thank you for your time, Mr. Vice President.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course, Dick Cheney will make the decision.
And your corporate entities, of course, Mr.
Yeah.
Cheney.
Nancy Pelosi has to make some new money.
She's a very nice lady. She does not, she doesn't bother me in the least. Ooh, what's happening in Australia, man? There's a lot of people here.
President Lula, may I ask you something?
Yes, of course.
Do you remember when you used the phrase in Canberra that I would be allowed to maintain my sovereignty?
Yes.
Yeah, New Zealand wishes an elaboration on that. That seems like quite an outrageous statement.
Looking into those things, we are very interested into investing into Africa, as we believe that we can invest into Africa and help building help building the infrastructure in African nations, specifically hospitals and infrastructure. We believe that any of those things are imperative and important for the development of the so-called third world, which we find is an imperialist term, but I digress. And we would be completely on board. I mean, those. It just shows that Africa is a continent that should be taken seriously by the West and by other countries, and China will ensure that this will happen.
Yeah, we've kind of butted head with the West in general. Recently, as you might know, over the what happened in Libya, we were strongly opposed to Britain's intervention in that war, which we managed to successfully solve ourselves without Western intervention. We strongly feel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it just shows that Africa, that the African continent is a mature continent, and they can handle you Africans can handle the issues you have in your continent yourself. You don't need the Western world for that. China is on the same opinion. That's why we bottled those when the UK and the French tried to intervene, we said no. The Africans can take this for themselves.
We very much appreciate that, actually, because it is our personal opinion, at least in Angola, and I don't know if every other African nation holds this opinion, but we will not again accept our former colonial masters military intervene in our continent. We have suffered for 4 centuries under their oppressive rule, and it is our view that we will never again allow them to set their soldiers upon our land.
Of course. China is also willing to help Angola develop by giving you a loan with a very, very small interest rate. And the only thing that we asked for is docking rights for our navy.
You know, actually, we do have a dock, so we are developing that. So I think that actually would be amendable to us.
That sounds wonderful. We will be ready to give you. How does 60 billion sound?
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, well done. Then you go ahead and